Yo, I just ate breakfast at 11 a.m. and then I coughed up 14 pounds of phlegm and I put on deodorant just right now because I refuse to take a morning shower. I shower at night, everybody. I'm not that dirty. But what is going on, everybody? What's up? It's nice to meet you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Ian, and today is going to be a great day. I gotta record this before I go practice driving because I gotta practice for my driving test that's coming up soon. It would be very embarrassing if I failed, but I'll explain whether or not I failed in a future video. But I was looking for a new hub of weird articles and I came across r/bald. Now that has nothing to do with today's video, but I just thought that was funny. It's just a bunch of pictures of people transitioning into being bald and I aspire to have that much courage. But I love me some wacky news and I ended up on r/nottheonion. And oh, is it just what I'm looking for? There's this one that says Fox News analyst blames low birth rate on teens not having enough kids. Teen pregnancy being promoted. Nice. Five Guys CEO says he gave 1.5 million bonus to employees because I didn't want anybody shooting me. I'm gonna have to go back and do some of these articles and other videos because it's just wonderful seeing how many stupid people live on this earth. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we're drug smuggling. Not us, but this Texas woman is because she was sentenced to 6 years in prison for mailing inmates Bibles soaked with drugs. And ahead of time, apologies if I sound really bad because I'm allergic to pollen and I guess my nose is clogged. It doesn't feel clogged and I'm not like sniffling or drooling with snot or whatever, but I just sound weird, I notice in my recordings. But that is just straight up evil, dude. Easter just happened and you're already pulling this stuff, but if it was gonna be anywhere, Texas does make quite a lot of sense. Now, I've never per se researched drug smuggling in prisons, but I just wonder why because, okay, hello? My PC fans are just blasting off for no reason. I have 2 tabs open. But anyways, what I was gonna say is that they're prisoners. They don't exactly have access to their money to buy stuff, so how? Not only that, but you're also just making it harder on yourself as a drug smuggler for zero reason. You can find better customers elsewhere who have more money, probably are easier to get to because you don't have to smuggle through prison guards. And on top of that, you're not going to get caught because, I mean, you probably will get caught. But what I'm saying is it's harder to get caught because you're not sneaking it through a prison. A federal prison. Okay, I don't know if the prison was federal, but it made it sound more dramatic, okay? Also, the first thing I thought of when I read this was soaking Bibles with drugs. I don't know if that's new terminology, but I don't know how you would soak it. That's probably just slang for hiding it, like just putting it in the Bible, but I don't know. I just thought that was funny. Imagine just the worst drug dealer in the world dipping Bibles in cans of lean and then just giving it to the prisons. Yo, man, we just got a new batch of wet Bibles to give the inmates. They'll definitely use it for research. What are you gonna do? Sip the lean out of the leather? We have 15 unresponding inmates. All of them seem to have high drug concentration in their blood. I don't know how this happened. Oh, they all just receive packages? Oh, I guess that's not gonna be very suspicious at all. Dog, you're giving prisoners contraband. That's why smuggling anything into prisons was always so dumb to me, because you're giving stuff to people who have already been caught before. That's why they're in prison. If they were good at not being caught, don't you think they wouldn't be in jail right now? But anyways, Hannah Havila Martinez admitted to concealing the drugs in Bibles and other religious materials before sending the packages to inmates in state custody. She's gotta be an atheist because no way. If you have even the slightest belief in religion, you know that an act like that would just send you straight to the underworld. The deepest cell in Tartarus. Lock him up and throw away the key, bro. You're gonna have a seat right next to King Von himself because you are not coming back. A Wichita Falls woman has been sentenced to 6 years in prison after pleading guilty to mailing synthetic cannabinoids and other narcotics into facilities operated by the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, authorities said. 6 years. And it's gonna be insanely funny if they just throw her in the same prison as the people she was smuggling to. And good thing she pled guilty because there is literally no way you would get past that case. You're a criminal trying to bust into the place where the criminal handlers keep the other criminals. I mean, I've heard of like drug smuggling stories before and like, you know, people sneaking knives into prison for others and stuff like that, but apparently she turned this into a whole business. She was booming, bro. Sales were up. She bit off more than she can chew. And now she's gonna be biting the dust in prison. You might think 6 years is like not that long for a prison sentence because I've seen much longer prison sentences, but 6 years is still quite a lot. 6 years back goes to 2020 when I was a literal fetus. I was 2 years old in 2020. Like, serious. Okay, I wasn't actually, but 6 years is a lot. I'm back after a little... Oh, that might be kind of loud. I'm back. I just helped my dad clean up the garage a little bit, so I'm a little bit off track, but let's continue. According to a press release, Hannah Havila Martinez admitted to concealing the drugs in Bibles, other religious materials, magazines, newspapers, and legal mail before sending the packages to inmates in state custody. I mean, I'm glad that they got the drugs, you know, they found all the contraband things like that, but I mean, you can't do all of this in one shot, so she probably did it in multiple. No prisoner of today's standards wants to read the newspaper. I mean, obviously, I've never been to prison. I've never experienced being an inmate, but I have never read a newspaper or looked through the mail at all in my entire life, unless it has my name on it, which I live under someone else's household, so it doesn't count. You can't say that, oh, every mail has your name on it. No, it doesn't. Not in my case. Now that I think about it, I don't even get newspapers sent to my door anymore. You probably have to sign up for newsletters and physical media and stuff like that, but I feel like back when I was pretty young, I used to have newspapers at my house. And magazines. You're telling me people read magazines still? This is definitely a Gen Alpha, maybe even Gen Beta statement, but like, come on. I was on vacation and I went to a super fancy mall and I picked up a Vogue magazine. It was insanely boring. No one has the reading comprehension for that stuff anymore. And you're telling me prisoners, inmates out of anybody, are gonna be reading books? Yeah, no way! Bibles, understandable. But the thing with Bibles is that their pages are so thin. You would easily be able to see if something was hidden inside of the Bible, unless it had like a compartment in it, you know, the pages were fake or whatever, but I feel like it would be pretty obvious. Next time, pick something more based, you know, send a pair of Supreme shoes with a compartment in the front. We always stay classy here on the Preheat Ian YouTube channel, you know what I mean? If you're not wearing Supreme, get out, because, you know, we only rep Supreme here, the best designer brand, of course. Imagine how fast you would get beat up if you were an inmate and you had like a Gucci jumpsuit or something like that. Bro's in jail with the Prada bag. I've re-recorded this next part so many times that I'm just gonna leave in the mistakes from now on. Officials said the scheme was uncovered after the staff at the All Red unit identified leather-bound Bibles containing heavy saturated pages that later tested positive for synthetic cannabinoids. Wait, I actually did it on the first try after that, except for that one part where I said heavy instead of heavily. Wait, I don't smoke, but am I understanding this correctly? I had to reread this multiple times, but it said that the pages were saturated and tested positive for cannabinoids. If this is wrong, I'm stupid, but does that mean that the pages of the Bible are infused with cannabinoids? Bro, are you smoking the Bible? If this is actually what that means, bro, you are going straight to wonderful places that'll treat you fairly and give you the rights you need. All I'm gonna say is you're going to places way worse than prison. Satan's gonna stick 17 fingers up your butt and twiddle them like he's playing a Pac-Man arcade game. That was a little bit graphic. Let's move on. The effort you gotta go through to do this, man. And how would you get fire in prison? It's not like they're giving lighters to the inmates, you know? That would be a very bad idea. Yo, we all had to evacuate for the 4th time this week because the bathroom got set on fire again, but you know, it's fine. We can just, you know, let them keep their lighters, you know, let them have flamethrowers in their backyard, or why did I say backyard? In their cells. Investigators traced the packages to an Office Depot store in Wichita Falls, where the surveillance footage showed Martinez using a self-checkout station to mail packages to inmates. Authorities said she was observed sending at least 3 packages containing a combined 360 grams of synthetic cannabinoids. Like I said, I don't know how you expect it, but you're never getting that money back. It's not like you're gonna break into the prison to beat them up and get the money for their drugs that you sold them. Oh, Ian, they just wanted to smuggle drugs because that's what bad people do. Yeah, right. It's not even an investment either. You're just getting prisoners high for zero reason. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna send you a crowbar or something to like help you break out of jail and then you'll work for my business where we sell drugs together. No. You're literally just getting inmates high for zero reason. Again, I don't know. There could be a reason, a motive for someone to smuggle drugs into jail for no money, or if they do get money. I don't know. I don't know anything, but I just want to know because I highly doubt there's a good enough reason in the brains of these stupid, mindless people that I read about. You hear that, everybody? You're stupid. Stupid. I'm talking about the people in the articles. I'm not talking about you because you, the viewer, you're amazing. I love you. I'm not talking about you. I could never talk bad about any of my glorious, wonderful fans. The fans that don't exist yet, but I speak to in the future, which hopefully they do arrive at some point. But anyways, authorities said when they later searched her home, they seized approximately 4.9 pounds of synthetic cannabinoids in various forms, including liquid, powder, and paper sheets. 4.9 pounds? Look, I don't sell weed, I don't know the measurements, I don't know anything like that. But I'm gonna assume that's a lot of money. People pay well over $100 for an ounce of weed sometimes, and you're telling me, you know, if you don't know, 1 pound is 16 ounces. She had almost 5 pounds of that stuff. That's like thousands of dollars of weed. And you're selling it to a prison for no profit. Okay, I keep saying for no profit, but I don't know. Maybe she was getting money somehow, but at the same time, I just can't picture in my head how inmates would get money to her, how they would pay for it. If someone else is paying it, then that just transfers the problem to another person. You know what? Let's look it up. What is 4.9 pounds of weed or marijuana or cannabinoids or whatever you want to call it in US dollars? Okay, I kind of realized I was talking about it wrong because synthetic means that it was combined with something else and that adds weight, but you know, it's still Makes sense to me. Stupid, yeah, but all the points still valid. Yeah, just shut up. AI is telling me that it would go for about $8.6 to $10,000. Are we serious? That's per pound, and that's like illegal, major trafficked marijuana. It's telling me street value would be $42,000 to $49,000. There's no way. And you sent it to a prison. A prison. Now you're in jail. And you're not going to be able to pay for your bond because they're going to be like, oh, you made so much money and there's no bond for you. And you're going to be in jail forever. You're going to, The issue is she could have been rich. You know, she could have just retired, lived the life. You have, okay, maybe not. That's like not that much money. $49,000, you can't live off that. But that's still a lot of money. $49,000, you could buy a car with that. A super nice car too. And I'm assuming synthetic weed is probably easier to sell than normal weed. Before this, I didn't even know synthetic weed was a thing. I didn't even know you could infuse book pages, Bible pages with weed. But yeah, I am uneducated. Let's continue. This case underscores the persistent challenges we face in contraband entering our facilities through the mail. Texas Department of Criminal Justice Executive Director Bobby Lumpkin said in a statement. Crediting... I was doing so good even with that super long title. Why is your name so long? Just call him Lumpkin. I actually really like that name. This case underscores the persistent challenges we face in contraband entering our facilities through the mail. Texas Department of Criminal Justice Executive Director Bobby Lumpkin said in a statement, crediting staff vigilance and investigators for stopping the drugs from reaching inmates. Hooray, you did your job. It really doesn't matter because most of those guys are going to be in there for life anyway. Let them have a little smoke, man. I mean, they literally just ended their lives and are in prison forever. So, I mean, I get the stress. Just kidding. I don't condone smuggling synthetic drugs into prisons, which I don't think anyone's ever had to say before. But now that I think of it, yeah, people can overdose. People, do stuff like that with other drugs. But, I mean, synthetic weed, it's not really that harmful. I've never heard of anybody dying off weed. Even if the drugs and the marijuana did get into the prison, it probably wouldn't change a thing except for the fact that it would actually be easier to control them because they'd all just be tired and, wouldn't be able to move. I support prisoner intoxication. I don't actually. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this video is already getting long, and that is the end of this article. I didn't expect it to run all the way until 12 minutes until I was done, but hopefully you like the long videos. If anyone's watching this, that is, which I hope they are. But if you did enjoy this video, found joy, found entertainment in my voice and my horrible commentary, then I did my job, and I'm so grateful that I was able to entertain you. But again, as I always have been saying, because I've been seeing the views coming in, it's not a lot, but it's enough for me. I do thank you all so much. Every single person who watched this video, every single person who watched any video, anyone who liked, subscribed, commented, whatever it is, shared, anything like that. I thank you so much. No matter how long you watched, no matter how long you've been around, whatever like that. I show my gratitude to you, and I thank you. Sorry my parents are calling me. It's been so amazing to see you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Ian, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.